Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to my channel. Now today we've got another weekly forex analysis. Now on the screen are the 12 pairs that we'll be analyzing today. But before we get into that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on the video if you're feeling generous. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on my Instagram account. I'll leave the handle there, as we post a lot of different trading setups there and different tips and tricks and just general forex advice for you to become a better trader. And also check out my Telegram channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. So make sure you go check all of that out. Links will be in the description. But like I said, got another weekly forex analysis for us. So let me stop talking and let's get into the video. First up, we've got Euro USD. Okay, so for Euro USD this week, we had another push to the upside for this pair. Last week we finished with this engulfing candle, and as you can see, that bullish momentum continued this week, and we saw another big push to the upside, breaking back above a key level of support in the market. As you can see, after this big push to the upside, market found support here and just continued in that uptrend, and we respected it here as well. Now we've had, it looks like we've had a false breakout. So as long as price respects this area here from a daily point of view as support, we can actually expect to see price continue to the upside and actually potentially continue this overall bullish trend here for USD. As you can see in the higher time frames, like the weekly, still in a very strong bullish trend, and the monthly as well. And again, the higher time frames normally have more authority in the markets here. So again, price could easily just continue in another bullish trend here from a higher time frame point of view. And as you can see, you've had a false breakout of that support, so price could easily tap into this support again. As you can see from the 4H, you did see a big move to the downside towards the end of last week, big push back up, so we might see price maybe roll back over, maybe come and test the support and then continue to the upside if we do hold. And probably can be expecting price to come and tap into this resistance here. As you can see, this was the last resistance that kind of sent us to the downside to go achieve these lows here on the daily. So if we jump back to the daily, you can see this is the resistance here I'm talking about. So we could be seeing price come to test that resistance, and if you see a break of that, that could actually lead us all the way back to the highs over here, and we just continue that overall bullish trend. So a break of this level here will probably take us all the way to the highs, but for now, as long as we respect this support now from a daily point of view, I think USD is probably on its way back to the upside, and could be seeing another move back into this key support or key resistance here in the market. Break above it will be turn support. In that case, we could be coming all the way back to the highs, but as long as price stays above this level, USD could be on its way back up. If we break back below, however, we'll probably see this overall bearish trend here on the 4H just continue, and at that point we could be expecting lower lows and maybe price coming all the way down to this area here in the market. 1.19, really key level of daily prior resistance will be turn support. So break below that, could be seeing lower lows, at least a push into that low there. Hold this level here, could be seeing a push back into here, and a break of that could take us all the way up to the weekly highs for USD. But overall, still looking very bullish for USD. Next, we're going to take a look at USD JPY. Okay, so for USD JPY this week, we saw price come and give us a really nice push to the downside. As you can see, I was talking about this level of resistance here for USD JPY. As you can see, price respected it quite well. This was our last major swing high of the market, sent us to some new lows there, came back to retest that area, and we saw a really nice push to the downside coming into this previous area of resistance and support. Didn't quite test it, we wicked almost into it, missed it by a few pips, but still treating that as price finding support there, and we did see a nice push back to the upside for USD JPY now. So USD JPY gave us a big push to the upside. It looks like we found a bit of resistance here in the market, as you can see with that 4H engulfing candle there, and as you can see here, prior resistance there, and also a bit of support there with that bullish candle, and it sent us to the downside. So price looks like it is respecting that area, and if we do respect that area and we see the momentum change, we could actually be seeing another push back into that level there for USD JPY. If you get back above this area, we'll probably be expecting price to come back into this resistance here. At that point, we could easily be seeing an actual breakout and seeing USD JPY turn into a bullish trend on the higher time frames like the daily. and we actually could be seeing a bigger trend to the upside for this pair. But right now it looks like price and a really nice push to the upside. You can see in the daily we wicked back and price pulled back down, and it is respecting that area there on the 4H. So if price maintains that area, if it holds, again could be seeing another push to come and really test this resistance, turn support, because again, like I said, we kind of wicked into it and missed it by a few pips. So we could really come to the downside, come and test it before we see a bigger push to the upside. But for now, USD looks like it is respecting that resistance, and if we maintain that, could be seeing a nice push back into this level. However, if we don't and we break back above it, price is probably going to come back into this resistance. In that case, we could easily be seeing a breakout of it to the upside, and actually be seeing a bullish trend on the higher time frames as well for USD. But for now, it does look like we're respecting this area, and could actually be seeing another push to the downside to come and test this resistance turn support. And next we've got USD CAD. Okay, so for USD CAD this week, we saw a push to the downside. I was saying as long as price respects this area here in the market, you could actually see a push to the upside here for USD CAD, coming back into 1.29 for this level. As you can see, we didn't do that. Price actually broke through that support there, that former resistance turn support, and actually respected it again, as you can see with this candle here on the daily. Big push to the upside, respected that as a resistance, and now we actually are starting to look very bearish here for USD CAD. So if I jump into the 4H, you can see this is the level that I was talking about. Really nice support and resistance this level was acting at, and as you can see, there's a really strong resistance there and a big push to the downside there for USD CAD. So I actually think USD CAD could be on its way back down all the way to come and test the lows down here. As you can see, this is a really key level here where we had that indecision candle, and we had that big push to the upside. So I think USD CAD could be on its way back down to test this area here in the market, maybe even further, because again, we are in a bearish trend long term from the higher time frames. So we could actually see that momentum take us all the way into some new lows, break through that area, and actually come and test some new lows there for USD CAD. But currently we are actually in some support. As you can see here, this is support in the market, which did see a big push to the upside. So we could well get a bullish reaction to start the week off, maybe see another push back to the upside, create another lower high. But I think we'll probably end up breaking through that support and see price come and tap into this support here, potentially actually breaking through that area and actually giving us some new lows before we spring back to the upside here for USD CAD. But overall looking bearish. I think we could be seeing another push to the downside this week for this pair. However, get back above this level will probably open a lot of upside potential to come and test that 1.29 level. Like I said, really key level, which saw us form some new lows. So again, breaking back above could take us to that 1.29 level. Staying below it will probably eventually break through this support and see price come and tap into the lows there for USD CAD, or maybe even create some new lows. So as long as we stay below that resistance, I think USD CAD could be on its way back down potentially. Up next is Euro GBP. Okay, so for Euro GBP this week, again, not too much happened for this pair. Again, as you can see, this is basically the price action as a whole for this week, basically just moving sideways. So I can just draw a box around it. So basically just consolidation here for Euro GBP. As you can see, overall very strong downtrend here, making lower lows and lower highs here in the market. Still looking very bearish, so we could actually break to the downside here. We do have a key level here at 0.87, a really key level of support, as you can see here prior on the daily. Big push to the downside, price found support here, and sort of big push back to the highs for Euro GBP. So we could tap into this level here, see a bit of a breakout to the downside, and then create some new lows, and then maybe see a big push to the upside for this pair. Now we can actually start to see a bit of a reversal, because again, very overextended. Market could look to relieve itself at some point now for Euro GBP. So we haven't quite tested that support yet, so I think we could break out this consolidation to the downside, tap into 0.87, maybe wick out below, bit of a false breakout, and then we might see a bigger push to the upside for this pair. But overall, we can see we are still looking bearish here. Not really much bullish price action there for Euro GBP, so probably favoring a break to the downside, tap into this level here, and then see a bigger push. Obviously, we could break to the upside and then see the push that could happen. The breakout is 50-50, but since we're in the bearish trend, could probably expect to see the breakout to the downside, tap into that really strong support, and then might see a really nice push to the upside for Euro GBP. Okay, so up next we've got AUD USD. Okay, so for AUD USD this week, we had the bullish momentum just continue to the upside. I said we saw a really nice breakout of the downside of this support, and I said as long as price respects this, we could see price resume to the downside and start to give us a reversal. However, as you can see, we just broke straight back above it and price is looking bullish now, so we can actually just treat this all bearish momentum here to the downside, breaking through that support as just a false breakout, since we had a really strong break back above this area. So could be seeing maybe a short-term push to the downside for AUD/USD, maybe to come back, test the support, retrace some of that bullish momentum, and actually see price have a really strong move back to the upside and give us maybe some new highs actually, and tap into some new highs, because again you can see the overall trend is still very bullish, and even in the higher time frames like the weekly and the monthly, we are still very bullish on those time frames as well. So again, we could just be seeing a continuation of this overall bullish trend. And if I jump into the 4H, you can see we've actually had a break out of this trend line here in the market, which I did say last week, as long as we stay below, price might see a push to the downside. But as you can see, we had a bit of a push to the upside. Price was looking like we might be having a false breakout, but as you can see, just before we closed for this week, we had a big push to the upside and price was finding support at that trend line there. So again, we do have support here for AUD/USD, and price is starting to look a lot bullish. So if we see a break of this support, we'll probably see price come and tap into that daily area that I was showing you on the daily chart, tap into this area, right, find support, and then see the continuation to the upside. Again, we do have this key level here. If I just remove that area, we do have this key level of support here. As you can see, really strong support, which saw a really nice injection to the upside of that bullish momentum. So we could break through that support, tap into this level, and then see price continue to the upside. Break through this level, however, will probably take us all the way back to the lows here. Then we can actually start to see a reversal on the daily to the downside. But I think we could be on our way to the upside here. My bias is probably to the upside actually for AU, just because of the price action we're getting, unless we break through this support there. So again, as long as we stay above that support, could be seeing AU continue to the upside, tap back into this resistance all the way up here, and actually create some higher highs potentially as well, because again, an uptrend, we do expect higher highs in the market. So overall, as long as we stay above that support, could see push to higher highs there. But there is a case we could fall to the downside, tap into this level before we see that big push to the upside. But either way, expecting AU to probably get back to the weekly highs and maybe actually create a higher high. Now let's take a look at NZD CAD. Okay, so for NZD CAD this week, again, not too much happened, but again, we're starting to get some really strong signals that we could be breaking to the downside actually for this pair. As you can see, we're starting to get this bowl shape here in the market here on the daily. Price is going from, if you jump to the 4H, price has been going from making higher highs in the market. As you can see, there's a high, higher high, higher high. We had a double top here, and now we're actually making lower highs. As you can see, there's a high there, lower high there. So it is giving us a sign that we could be breaking to the downside, but we still haven't broken through that strong daily level here in the market. That previous saw a really nice move to the downside. So as you can see here, previous resistance, really strong move to the downside, tapping into this support all the way down here. So as you can see, we had a push to the upside, price was breaking out of it, broke back in, found some support around this level here. And as you can see, we broke back above that level. But as you can see, we're kind of losing that bullish momentum and starting to gain some bearish momentum here on the daily. So it's looking like we could be seeing a break of this support and seeing price actually tap back into this level here in the market, this support. And actually probably at that point, we could be actually expecting price to actually break through that level and actually go and test this support all the way down here. As you can see, really strong support, which sent us to the upside. So my bias is probably to the downside for NZD CAD, but again, really strong support that we need to break first for that actually setup to actually work out, because price could easily just respect the support and actually see another push to the upside, creating a higher highs, because again, overall trend on the higher time frames is still to the upside for this pair, so that could easily happen. But if we do get below this support, it probably will take us to this area, and then probably we'll see a break and probably take us to this area down there for NZD CAD, because we are starting to look very bearish for this pair, because again, you can see we're starting to roll over to the downside, giving us that bull shape, and normally you do expect to see an impulsive move in the opposite direction to the downside. So NZD CAD looking bearish here, probably can be expecting price to break through that support and come and tap into this level here, and probably second into this level here. However, if we don't see a break and price actually starts to make higher highs, so in that case taking out this level here on the 4H, taking out that level, giving us a strong move, and then finding support and continue up to the upside, we probably will be seeing a push into that level there, into this level here in the market, and actually maybe see a higher high there. But overall, biases to the downside, expecting a break of that support. If not, push to the highs. If we do, could we push into this level or that level all the way down there. Next up, we've got GBP NZD. Okay, so for GBP NZD this week, again, not too much happened in terms from. Okay, so for GBP NZD this week, we saw price kind of gaining momentum to the upside and price starting to trend to the upside here. It looks like we could be seeing a breakout of this consolidation here on the daily time frame. So this is the consolidation box that I had drawn for this pair. So as you can see here, we've actually had a close above there on Wednesday, I believe. We closed back inside, so it looks like we were retesting it. Then Friday we closed back above, so we are looking like we could be seeing a breakout. We haven't really taken out these wicks here, which could send price back down. So we haven't really had a strong breakout. Price is just closing above quite weakly, so we could break back into the consolidation box, but it is giving us signs that we could be breaking to the upside. And again, if I drop to the 4H, we also are starting to look quite bullish for this pair as well. So again, we got our highs up here. So again, that was the previous highest point here, the top of that wick. As you can see, we're trying to break out of this level a couple of times this week. Really strong push to the upside, failed to break through it, fell to the downside, tapping into it again, nice wick above, but again, failed to break through it. So I think we could be seeing a break to the upside here for GBP/NZD. So again, if I circle these areas, you can see we are making some higher lows here in the market. So again, that's a higher low there. There's now another higher low. So I think we could be seeing price maybe coming back, tapping into this area here in the market, and then seeing a breakout to the upside, taking out this really strong resistance, and seeing price really pushing to the upside, maybe all the way up to 1.94. And if I go to the daily chart and bring this back down, you can see 1.94 lines up with this really strong area in the market around here. It's again really strong support here, worst time resistance, saw a really nice push all the way to the downside, giving us some new lows. So I think that's probably the level from a daily point of view we're going to tap into. Again, will probably take a few days, maybe a few weeks to actually get there, but overall I think we are going to see a break to the upside and for GBP/NZD to continue this bullish momentum. If however we get below this support here in the market, that will probably indicate that we're changing direction and could actually be seeing a move back into this support here in the market, where we saw this big push to the upside that came from the news that we had the other week. So we could be tapping in back into this support here if you do break through this level. But again, as long as price holds that support that gave us the higher low, I do think price is probably going to see a nice breakout to the upside and see price give us some higher highs for GBP/NZD. So biases to the upside as long as we hold on to that level for next week for GBP/NZD. Next, we're going to move on to CAD JPY. Okay, so for CAD JPY here on the daily time frame, price is still looking very bullish for this pair. Last week we saw a break to the upside. As I said, we're probably going to see a retest of this area here in the market. As you can see, previous resistance turned support, price held it. Again, nice wick to the downside, rejected, pull back up, and price is looking bullish here again for CAD JPY. So I think price is going to probably tap into 83, sorry, price point can tap into 83 and see a really nice push to the upside as long as we stay above this support here on the daily. But price nonetheless is still looking bullish. I think we're just going to continue this uptrend here in the market. We did have a false breakout earlier on, as you can see if I continue this trend line to the upside here. So again, we had a false breakout earlier on. As you can see, false breakout there. I thought maybe you could be seeing a push to the downside, but price closed back above, broke through the resistance, and is still looking bullish. So this trend line here is still keeping us in the uptrend. I think CAD JPY is pretty off to go and test 83 here. So you can see a really nice test there. We are coming back into that previous resistance, which did send us to the downside. So you could see a bit of a bearish reaction to the downside for CAD JPY to start the week off. Maybe tap back into this support. I think we're probably going to break through that, go into 83, and just see that uptrend continue, come and test this support here and see a really nice push to the upside. We could maybe come and test this support again, form a double bottom, and then see price continue. But again, as long as we stay above this level from a daily point of view, this key resistance stand support, I think CAD JPY is probably going to continue to the upside here. So probably expecting to see some retrace to start the week off, since we had a close into that resistance. Maybe see some retrace that back into this area, and then expect to see CAD JPY create some new highs and go and tap into 83. Up next is GBP USD. Okay, so for GBP/USD, as you can see, clear uptrend here in the market, and price just looks like it's still going to respect this trend, and price is going to continue to the upside. Again, from the higher time frames like the monthly, I would say I do expect to see a big bullish February, actually. We're in February now, so I did expect to see a big push to the upside for February. As you can see here in the market, we had a nice breakout. January was the retest candle, as you can see, a doji there, small body candle retesting this previous resistance turn support, and then you can expect to see a bullish February going to the upside. So I do think for February we're going to see a nice bullish candle tapping into 1.42. Actually, I don't think February will probably get to there by the end of the month, but over time I think this bullish trend will continue and go and test 1.42, as that was kind of our previous major resistance, which saw GBP/USD fall to the downside, testing this support at 1.22. So again, overall bias is still to the upside for this pair here. I do think long term we're still on our way up. Here on the daily time frame, as you can see, still looking bullish, creating new highs. Jump into the 4H, as you can see here, we had a breakout of this range here in the market. So this was all consolidation, false breakout to the downside, news take us back in, and as you can see here, we actually broke to the upside, really clean push. We didn't quite come and test this previous area of resistance turned into support, so I was thinking maybe price could come and test this area now as support and then continue to the upside, but as you can see, we found support just before that area. Price currently now is testing this previous area of resistance here in the market, so could see a bit of retrace, but I think GBP/USD is still on its way to the upside as long as we hold on to this area here, because this is now our previous swing low. So if we take that level out there, we might see price actually give us a bigger push to the downside and actually start to see a bit more retrace in this pair if we do take out that support. But for now, as long as we hold on to that support, I think price is going to continue to the upside here and probably tap into 1.39, which is this resistance up there. So biases to the upside for GBP/USD. I think we're still going to continue this trend as long as we hold that support there, because that was our recent level now of support, which gave us a really nice injection to the upside. So again, we might see a bit of retracement to start the week off, since we closed at this resistance, yet we haven't actually broken through yet, so might see a bearish reaction because of that resistance. But I think GBP/USD is still on its way to the upside as long as we hold on to that support, which we found towards the end of last week. So biases to the upside for GBP/USD. I'm expecting to see a break of this resistance here in the 4H and tap into 1.39. And next we're going to see what's happening with GBP CAD. Okay, so up next we're going to take a look at GBP CAD. So for GBP CAD this week, we are still looking bullish here in the market. As you can see, we had a retest of this area here last week, big push to the downside, then we had the news take it up and we closed bullish there, so a retest of that resistance. So price is still in this uptrend now, as you can see, for GBP CAD making those higher highs and the higher lows. I did say we're probably going to come to 1.77 here from a daily point of view. So again, if I take that across, you can see 1.77 lines up with this resistance here in the market. We kind of had that triple top there and price fell to the downside. So really strong level resistance. We have struggled to break through in the past. So I think that is probably where we're going to come to for GBP CAD. Maybe not for next week, but in the upcoming weeks, I think we'll probably tap into 1.77. You can see if I jump to the 4H here, still looking very bullish here in the market. We took out this resistance here. That was kind of keeping us from pushing higher. Again, we can see we have actually closed above it. Not really a strong breakout. As you can see, the next candles are closing bearish, coming back into that resistance there. But if we do hold that support, we could easily be seeing price continue to the upside and actually take a move into that 1.77. I think as long as we stay above this level of support here in the market, which again is our previous swing low, as long as we stay above that, I think GBP CAD is probably on its way to the upside. Probably going to see price take out this level here. Strong area resistance, so we might see price struggle around there, might see a retracement, but I think we're going to take that out and come and test 1.77, because again, we are still in a bullish trend here on the higher time frame. So I think we're going to see price continue to the upside for GBP CAD for next week. Might see a bit of a reaction from this level here though, so we might see a deeper pullback from this level, but I do think we're probably going to eventually take out that level and see GBP CAD continue to the upside, because again, the higher time frames I look like we're pointing to the upside for this pair. So GBP CAD might see a bit of retracement to start the week off, but I do think we're probably going to tap into that resistance all the way up there and probably break out from it and go and tap into 1.77. And up next, we're going to take a look at gold. Okay, so for gold this week, we saw a big push to the upside for this pair. I was probably expecting... Okay, so for gold this week, we saw a big push to the upside for this pair. As you can see, we finished last week off with this big push to the downside and a bit of retracement. I was probably expecting price to continue to the downside, tap into the support, maybe even give us a new low. But I think my bias is actually going to be changing, and we could be seeing a push to the upside here for gold for the next coming weeks, actually, because as you can see here, we have this really key support here in the market on the daily chart for gold. Really key support across here, gave us a really nice push to 1950. We came all the way crashing back down. Test 1950 again, lovely reaction there, broke to the downside, then broke actually back above that area, so it fell to act as a strong resistance, and now as you can see, it's acting as support. So we saw a really nice push to the downside, that engulfing candle. But as you can see with the next candle there, the doji, we were looking quite bearish at one point, but price pulled back up and fell to actually close below it. So we could actually be seeing a false breakout here and price actually continuing to the upside. We do have this trend line though, which is keeping us a bit in the bearish trend here. So we do need to actually see a breakout to the upside of that trend line for us to actually see gold starting to turn bullish again, actually see price continue to create some higher highs. But again, we are starting to look bullish. If this is a false breakout, normally do expect price to take off in the opposite direction. However, if we do get back below and it wasn't a false breakout and we just see price continue to roll over to the downside, we could actually be seeing price coming back all the way to the lows here, like I said previously, and as you create some new lows there for gold, maybe testing into 1750. So we could actually be seeing price roll over to the downside if we take out that support again. But judging by the candle there that closed on Friday, it's looking like price is having a tough time taking out the support, and if we do hold that, probably could be seeing a break of this trend line. And once we see a break of that trend line, I think gold could be having a big push all the way up to 1950 again. As you can see, a really strong level of resistance, big push to the downside, big push to the downside. So every time we're tapping to this area, we are seeing big rejections to the downside. So I think price is probably going to be looking to go and test the area in the next coming weeks, as long as we hold this support here and we break through that trend line, because again, that trend line could actually send us back down. So if I drop to the 4H, as you can see, it's acting really nice resistance there, a bit of false breakouts there, but still acting as really nice resistance. So again, if we could actually see a push to the upside, test the trend line and see another push back down, and then see price continue in the bearish in that bearish trend. But if you keep respecting the support, break through the trend line, I think price is probably going to come all the way up to 1950 again for gold. So again, more of a long-term point of view, but for now, I think we could be seeing a bit of a bullish movement to the upside for gold, back into that trend line. Might see price roll over again, but I think we could be seeing a break of it and a nice push to the upside for next week for gold. And last but not least, we've got Bitcoin. Okay, so for Bitcoin this week, we actually saw a big push to the upside. I said if you take out 40,000, probably expect to see some new highs for this market. As you can see, we are still looking bullish and price is still on its way up. We haven't quite tested the 50,000 yet, but I still think price is probably on its way up overall to go and test that area. On the 4H, you can see we have found some resistance here in the market. So again, tapped it into it once, nice push to the downside, found support again at this area here in the market, tapped back into the level, and right now is kind of consolidating a little bit. As you can see here, if I remove that resistance, all of this is just mainly consolidation here for Bitcoin. So price is a 50-50. We could see a break to the upside, maybe testing 50,000, then we start to see a bit of retracement here. But right now, again, we kind of just moving sideways here for Bitcoin. We could see a break to the downside, retest this support here, and then that could give us the push to the upside to go and test 50,000 there. But overall, price is still looking bullish here for Bitcoin, although we are consolidating. Could see a breakout to the upside, could see a break to the downside, but I think we are probably going to go test 50,000 unless we break back below this key level of support here. If you do break back below, then we could be seeing a move back into this level all the way down here, this prior resistance level here, will we turn support. So again, break through that support, probably see it move back into this one around 41,000, but we could be seeing a break all the way to 50,000, I do think, for this pair. So a break to the upside will probably take us to 50,000, a break to the downside probably take us into this support where I do expect 50,000. So again, as long as we hold this level, I think 50,000. Break below that level, however, I think we're going to 41,000 for Bitcoin. So overall bias is still to the upside for this pair, but break through that level there, could be seeing a nice move to the downside to around 41,000, maybe even further, and we actually see a bit of a deeper retrace for this pair. But right now, bias is still to the upside for this pair. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you agree, disagree, or just have any questions, make sure you leave it down in the comments and I'll make sure I'll get back to you. But thanks again for watching, and until the next one, I'll see you guys later.